The Resilience Across Borders podcast is intended for education, support, and inspiration. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer any professional, medical, or health advice. If you are dealing with or suffering from any psychological or medical conditions, please seek help from a qualified health professional. Hello and welcome back to Resilience Across Borders podcast. I'm your host Rashid Zahidi and the author of the Emojim Journal, which is a guide and workbook to get clear and stay focused on your priorities and institute better habits. In today's episode, we will talk about how to stay consistent when motivation fades, which it usually or always does. In other words, a simple system to build discipline, stay on track, and keep showing up no matter how you feel. So first, let's think about why discipline isn't about willpower. Willpower is a muscle that gets exhausted, but discipline is about design. So motivation is often treated as the fuel for success, but in reality, it's one of the most unreliable forces you can depend on. Some days you feel energized, focused, and driven. Other days you just don't. And that's exactly the problem. If your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always fluctuate. But if your progress depends on a system, you remove emotion from the equation and replace it with structure. Consistency is not built on motivation. It's built on designing your life in a way that makes action inevitable. It makes action easy. It puts you in a state that you take action without even thinking about it most of the time. So here's how to do it. One is to lower the activation energy. And what does that mean? Is make starting so easy that resistance loses its power. Most inconsistency comes from friction at the beginning. When a task feels too big, your brain delays it. Your job is to make starting almost effortless. So the strategy basically is to shrink the entry point. Put it in more practical use. Instead of, say, work out for 45 minutes when you're just starting, commit to 5 minutes of movement. Once you start, momentum usually carries you forward. As they say, body in motion will stay in motion. Or instead of write a full article, begin with one paragraph or even one sentence. And you will find sometimes once you write that one sentence, you will find yourself writing a paragraph. Once you write that paragraph, you'll find yourself writing the rest. So this leverages a psychological truth. Starting is the hardest part. So reduce that barrier and consistency follows. Number two, build non-negotiable minimums. So create standards that apply regardless of mood. Motivation fluctuates, but standards don't. A system requires a baseline. What you do even on your worst days. So in other words, define your floor, not just your ceiling. So again, to put it in practical use, your rule may be I write at least 100 words daily, no exceptions. So if I don't do anything else on any particular day, I put down at least 100 words. So that's your floor, that's your minimum. Or I review my goals for 2 minutes every morning, even if I'm tired. 2 minutes, that's not a lot. 2 minutes is very quick and easy. On high energy days, you exceed the minimum. On low energy days, you maintain it. Either way, you stay consistent. That keeps you in the game. Because once you're out of the game, it's hard to get back in. But the minimums keep you in the game. They keep momentum on your side. Number three, use environmental design. Make good habits obvious and bad habits inconvenient. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You fall to the level of your environment and the level of your training. Your surroundings either support your systems or sabotage it. Remove friction for desired actions and add friction for the distractions you don't want. In other words, make it easy to do your desired actions and make it difficult to do to get it or fall into the distractions. So for instance, leave your journal open on your desk so it's first thing if you want to write on your journal. Keep your phone in another room when doing focused work so you don't get pulled in by notifications or other people's requests yanking at your chain. Prepare your workout clothes the night before. So it's one less thing to worry about the next morning. You get up, you slip into them, and you're that much closer to working out. Then if you have to start looking, oh, where's my shorts? Where is my socks? Where is my shoes, etc., etc. And those are all like opportunities for you to check out and to talk yourself out of it. So when the environment is aligned, discipline requires less effort. So number 4, anchor habits to existing routines. You can attach new behaviors to what you already do consistently. Consistency becomes easier when it's tied to something automatic, something you already do. This is known, in other words, as habit stacking. It's referred to as anchoring or habit stacking, but it's basically linking new actions to established routines. So for instance, after brushing your teeth, write one journal entry, or after your morning coffee, or with your morning coffee, review your top 3 priorities, or after finishing work, spend 10 minutes learning or reflecting. You're not creating a new habit from scratch. You're extending an existing one and you're building on it. Number 5, track actions as well, not just outcomes. So focus on what you can control, because sometimes you do everything you need, but the results take a while to come. Don't get hung up on immediate results. So focus on what you can control instead of looking for that immediate hit and immediate result. One of the fastest ways to lose motivation is to chase outcomes you can't immediately see and feel. But systems shift your focus to inputs. They shift your focus to the efforts, to putting in the work and doing the building blocks. Measure consistency, not perfection. Done is and not perfect is better than perfect but never done. So track how many days you showed up. Not exactly how productive you felt, but track when you showed up and that you showed up. Use simple habit trackers where you mark X for each completed action. It also gives you a little bit of that immediate satisfaction of checking something off the box. This builds a psychological reward loop. Progress becomes visible even when results are delayed. Number 6, remove emotional negotiation. Decide once, then execute without debate. Every time you ask yourself, do I feel like doing this? You can create an opportunity to quit or find one of the many exit doors. High performers reduce decision fatigue by eliminating daily negotiations. You just train yourself, your body, okay, it's time to go, no negotiation. In other words, the strategy is pre-decide your actions. So instead of deciding daily whether to work out, schedule it at fixed time. I train at 7 a.m. Or instead of asking if you should write or not, define I write every weekday at 8 p.m. Clarity eliminates hesitation. The decision has already been made, so you don't need to debate it. Number 7, build identity-based consistency. Act in alignment with who you believe you are becoming. Lasting consistency doesn't come from pressure. It comes from identity. When you see yourself as someone who does the work, consistency becomes natural. Shift from outcome-based thinking to identity-based thinking. I am the person who does this. I am the person who does that. And I am the person who doesn't do this and who doesn't do that. So instead of saying, I'm trying to be consistent, say, I am someone who shows up daily. Each action becomes a vote for that identity. The more you do that, the more you reinforce that identity. And the stronger that identity, the easier it is to do the things that you want to do to be consistent with that identity. So you're no longer chasing motivation. You're reinforcing who you are. Number 8, plan for low motivation days. Expect resistance and design for it. Most people fail because they plan for their best days, not their hardest ones. But that's where the trouble is. Those, if you're not prepared for those difficult ones, that's where most people lose track, most people lose momentum, or they quit. Consistency requires anticipating friction because it's part of life. Friction is going to happen. Resistance is going to happen. So the strategy is to create a low energy protocol. So in days when you feel drained, switch to your minimum standard. Example, 5 minutes instead of 30. Have a predefined fallback. If I don't feel like doing X, I will do Y, or basically a smaller version of whatever you are trying to do. If you don't feel like, for instance, doing like squats that day that you said you were going to do, maybe you do some push-ups, or maybe you do a chore that requires physical work. But you get the idea. This prevents all or nothing thinking, which is one of the biggest killers of consistency. So number 9, reward the process, reinforce behavior, not just results. Your brain repeats what it associates with reward. What gets rewarded gets repeated. If consistency feels like punishment, you will avoid it. So attach small rewards to completed actions. So for instance, after completing your habit, allow yourself something enjoyable, whether it's your favorite coffee or music or a short break. Acknowledge your effort consciously. I showed up today. That matters. You can say that to yourself. You can repeat that to yourself. You can remind yourself of that. This builds a positive emotional loop around discipline. So motivation will come and go. That's not a flaw. It's human nature. But consistency isn't about being constantly inspired. It's about creating a structure that carries you, creates momentum and carries you forward even when you don't feel like moving. Feelings are temporary. Systems are sustainable. And over time, it's not the days you felt motivated that define your life. It's the days you showed up anyway, even when you didn't feel like it. So as always, thank you for tuning into the Resilience Across Borders podcast. Please share the podcast. Please review it. Spread the word. Give us your feedback any way you can. That is very encouraging for us to continue to make the podcast. And then you can follow the blog at resilience.com, and you can find the Resilience Across Borders podcast in many social media outlets. And remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others and stay resilient.